Hey guys, how's it going? So I hope you're having a good day today, and I hope all is going good with you. So today we're going to do radio story number 4, and we're going to talk about 97.1 KEGL Dallas Fort Worth. And we're going to talk about the 2 times the Eagle flew away, and talk about how things didn't go well both times. So, the station signed on in the early 1970s and featured a country format. And they did so throughout the 70s as, they called themselves Quixie, they called themselves Z97, and then they called themselves Texas 97, I believe. Then in the early 1980s, it might have been about 1980 actually, or maybe 1981, the station became 97.1 The Eagle. And the Eagle became popular pretty fast. At first, they featured a top 40 format throughout most of the 80s. And like a lot of top 40 stations at that time, they had a semi-tight playlist, very fast-paced imaging, very much high-energy hosts, DJs. And actually, a notable alumni of the Eagle was the late Kid Craddock, actually. So the Eagle was pretty popular. By the early 90s, the format shifted to active rock, away from top 40, and the station remained popular. At one point, the station had the Howard Stern Show, but I believe the show was pulled after Howard made some disparaging remarks about the owners of KEGL at the time. So he was taken off and replaced with a local show, I believe it was. Well, by the time you got to the early 2000s, radio consolidation had taken hold. And KEGL's owners were Clear Channel Communications. And Clear Channel also owned 102.1 The Edge. So in 2004, management made a decision to consolidate their rock audience. They felt that there was too much overlap between The Eagle and The Edge. So they decided to flip 97.1. They started redirecting listeners over to The Edge. And then in spring of 2004, The Eagle flew away. The station signed off with Sammy Hagar's Where the Eagles Fly. And then after a minute of silence, the station became Sunny 97.1 with an oldies-based adult contemporary format, with the bulk of the list being late 60s, 70s, and early 80s. And maybe even into the 90s a little bit, adult contemporary music. So it's said, and I believe this is true, that the station essentially was brought together, as said, to eliminate overlap between the two, between The Edge and The Eagle, but also maybe in a sense to replace KMEO. Memories 96.7, which had a soft adult contemporary format. Memories was replaced by a country format. Now, Memories 96.7 the audience wasn't big, but they had a pretty loyal audience. So I think Clear Channel figured they could get the Memories audience and then get the audience as well that listens to adult contemporary, and have that be Dallas Fort Worth's at workstation, as KEGL has a very powerful signal. I believe it's 100,000 watts. Well, Sunny retained the KEGL call letters, but things didn't go quite as planned. The format did not do well at all. The ratings crashed. And by about, I would say, probably by about 15 months later or so, the sun officially went down. and it was replaced by a Spanish oldies format called La Preciosa. Now, it's kind of funny because the Dallas-Fort Worth market was already pretty populated with Spanish language radio stations. And I think Clear Channel thought that they could get a piece of that pie. So when La Preciosa signed on, they had a very good book at first. And it seems like the ratings were gradually improving for 97.1. And it seemed like that was going to be the future of the signal. Well, things went south pretty fast. The ratings went down, and I don't know if this is true, but I kind of speculate that the station's billing likely wasn't very good because, again, you had a lot of other Spanish stations. And Clear Channel has never been really known for doing Spanish language formats. They have, but just not very often. And I think maybe they didn't quite know how to market the station. And since they didn't do the format a lot, I think they may have had problems doing research and a lot of other things. So La Preciosa didn't stick around for too long. I believe they were on for just a little over 2 years. Then the rumor mill started going about the possibility of the Eagle coming back. So La Preciosa was dropped, and they started stunning with English language Christmas music. Well, the Eagle came back, and the first song that they played on the second incarnation of the Eagle was Flying High Again by Ozzy Osbourne. And the ratings got better, and the Eagle reestablished itself in the market as a rock station, and a lot of the old audience came back to the Eagle. So, as the years went on, the Eagle went pretty well, was doing pretty well. But then, some years later, the Eagles' ratings had kind of started to go downward. And then by, I believe it was 2022, rumors started swirling around that the Eagle was going to fly away again. Well, it did happen. The Eagle flew away, and the station became 97.1 The Freak. And it was, the idea of The Freak was to have sports and like hot talk and guy talk kind of merged together. And I remember that when the Eagles signed off, they were stunting with The Waiting by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And then the station signed on, and they kind of talked about how the Eagle had moved to 97.1 HD2, and this is a project that they had been wanting to do for a while. And if you want to hear the launch of The Freak, I do have it on my channel, actually. But The Freak didn't do too well, and I think some of the reason The Freak didn't do too well was because of the market already had enough sports talk. And also I think it was to do with the fact that they were trying to be two things at once. They were trying to be like hot talk, guy talk, and they were trying to do sports at the same time. And they just couldn't get the two to mix together. And the station just wasn't catching on. The station, in its final book, was in the low ones. It had like about a 1.2 share or so. So rumors started swirling around about, once again, about the Eagle going away, or about the Freak going away. Well, much of the air staff was dismissed. And then it was speculated that the Eagle name was going to return, but it wasn't sure if it was what a lot of people weren't sure about is if they were going to be a rock station again, or if they were going to use the Eagle name like for oldies or for classic hits. There was even a rumor they weren't even going to use the Eagle name at all, that the station was going to flip back to a Spanish language format. Well, that turned out not to be true. And as of this video, last year in 2024, the Eagle flew back in for the third time. And there was a lot of well-wishers. I remember hearing a lot of liners like Metallica welcoming the Eagle back to the Dallas market and everything. So as of late, the Eagle, the ratings are better than they were when they were the Freak, but they're not that much better in the last couple of books I've seen as of this video. So I think the future of the Eagle looks a little uncertain at this point. Now, myself personally, if I were them, and I'm just being the armchair PD here, is that I would shift the station to classic hits, maybe. Possibly oldies, but probably shift the station to more of a classic hits format, keeping the Eagle name, of course. I think that would be the best way to go, in my opinion. Because clearly, it just seems like maybe the active rock format has tired itself out. And, and I think killing the station twice and bringing it back, I think that's kind of hurt them as well. I'm not sure if going Spanish again is the answer, as, again, the market has enough Spanish language stations. And I just don't think that really that's probably the way to go for KEGL. But we'll stay tuned to see if the Eagle stays in place for good or if the Eagle flies away again. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And we'll see you in the next story.